Tell me. Grab keep it. Only if you beat them in thumb wrestling or something.
Rock, paper, rock, paper, scissors.
Thumb wrestling.
Or nimbly peg.
I don't know, match maybe a ringer.
Let me see your finger.
Hello.
You're pretty good. I don't see any cuts, so you're probably good with nimbly peg.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. There it is. How do you sit on your phone and all of a sudden you do things that you don't mean to do? That ever happen to you?
Oh, yeah. In my pocket
Like,
all
holy
the time.
cow,
Every
what did I
day.
just do? Uh,
Lauren, is there a day you're thinking of doing, Ellen? Your days are limited,
No. So
so I,
it's like this Wednesday, or I was just looking at this before I came here because I was like, I don't know how to. Next Wednesday I can't because I'm
in case she'll
Hi,
be
Debbie.
here, so we will wait for her.
the last thing.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Think about those little boys and what they must be doing these days.
Everything,
Everything.
literally everything. Yeah, it's like one does something one day and the next day the other one does it, like to a T. They're just two peas in a pod. They're starting to talk, their words are starting to form, so
Oh,
their
God.
sign language is really picking up too, so they're
That's cool. Nice.
talking a lot. All right, welcome.
Let me know what they want. That's great.
Yeah. We got everyone.
Hey.
I got two of these, so someone didn't get one.
Doesn't have to be.
All right, is everyone ready? Ready.
Yeah.
All right, it's Monday, August 3rd, 5 o'clock. I'll call the Mellon Island Childcare Task Force meeting to order. We'll do roll call. Sam Dodson,
Lauren Shuby.
Julie Stryker.
Aisha Baloch,
Or Baxter.
Yep.
and we have two members of the public, Charlie and Paul Bremer, and our administrator. Do we have any public comment?
Thank you.
Yes.
So I worked on the comprehensive plan, part of the steering committee. And one of the things obviously we touched upon was childcare. And as it said in the comprehensive plan, there's no licensed childcare sites on the island, which is another barrier to parents who would like to live and work here year round. Couldn't agree with it more. And I made a copy of, from the Wisconsin Department of Children and Families, the guide to regulating childcare. So hopefully you got a
Thank
copy
you.
of that. And I was just thinking, I've watched a few of your meetings online already, and I know you've been talking about buildings where to house this. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but maybe once you know the demand, you can figure out if you're gonna be a licensed family childcare center, a licensed group childcare centers. And I know some of these numbers have changed as of August 1st. I think they went up to like 12 or 15 or whatever for a licensed family childcare center, but it seems to me before you step too far along into obtaining a building, you might want to know what the demands are and what the requirements with the state as a licensed facility are. So I'm just throwing it out there again. I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I believe.
But I think we'll probably address some of those questions in conversation tonight, so just
Okay.
you're out for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of interested since I was working on the steering committee for a couple of years, that just kind of curious how it all is going to fall into place. So
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, thank you.
I'm just curious, is this a childcare task force or is this a community center task force? Just wondering out loud.
All right, thank you for your comments. Moving on, any other public comment? Okay. We have to approve the minutes from our June 1st meeting.
Motion to approve.
The second,
I'll second.
all in
Or
favor?
Whoever. Aye.
Aye. Aye. Meetings approved or minutes approved. This one happened a little while ago, but if Lauren, you could give us an update on what that feedback was for the grant.
Yeah.
Specifically, we were doing feedback to figure out if there was a direction to go in the grant, so.
Yeah, so Rich and I met with Amber Burns from Boreal Waters. She was really helpful and gave a lot of information. Nothing that surprised me really.
Mhm.
And not a ton of like clarity, but it was helpful. So one of the main things that she said was like, and I've heard this so many times with grants coming from the island, but like, what's the impact? Specifically, how many kids will be impacted by
Mhm.
this? Because those big transformation grants and opportunity grants are like for big sweeping changes, and they obviously want to see like large numbers
Mhm,
for impact,
mhm,
right? So it could be a situation if we went at it again that we have to really be very clear about the impact in our specific community and what that means. And as far as like number ratios and number of families and like even as far as like how many of our kids' families work for the town of LaPointe and
Yeah.
how
Mhm.
like that down the line is very impactful.
So really
like, deeply
breaking it down.
impactful. Yeah.
Do you
like
think that our
specifics.
like numbers and demographics are adequate for that granting pool?
Not the way we approached it this time.
Okay.
Yeah, not only because like she was really adamant about like number of impact, specific numbers of
Hmm.
who's going to be affected. And that kind of led into the next thing, which was like outcome. Like what's your outcome? How many staff are you gonna have? Like, what's your like long range plan for this? Like, they want to know who's it going to impact and like, is it sustainable?
Mhm. Mhm.
Although we had like both of those things addressed in there, they were not data driven.
Mhm.
And so like there needs to be like a lot more numbers behind it.
Mhm.
But I'll give my synopsis after like what she gave to us, and what Rich and I talked about. But she just kept reiterating like it needs to be like more collaboration, bigger, wider, like more of the nonprofits and people having a buy-in to the impact of this.
So like, kind of like how we do after school programming, like lots of people coming in and doing programming and.
Correct. And like
Okay.
her words were deep community impact. So not I think that that could mean more than just numbers as far as deep community impact, but
Kind of
like
like the connection between elder and youth.
and workforce.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And how, like, what do those numbers look like if we didn't have families who could work for the town?
Mhm.
Like, because that's deeply impactful. And then okay, so those were really her comments, but Rich and I like chatted afterwards about like, okay, how can we take this advice and like, what do we see now that she said that?
Mhm.
And a couple of things. And I'm very interested, I know this is later on, but the GLIA webinar is going to be like incredibly helpful for us to figure out how they have put numbers out in the world, because they're also a small community.
Yeah.
And so when you're running up against grants that are being given to people in Duluth and Superior, like
Yeah.
we're never going to have those numbers.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we have to really paint the picture so people understand it.
It's like the pie, every piece of the pie has to be
Yeah.
represented.
And like, so she was saying like, give us more facts. Is there anywhere that the kids currently go? And I was like, we did list all of those, like I wasn't trying to like naysay everything she was saying, but I was like, okay, it's clear you weren't impacted by it. Like, at least not to the level that you needed to be,
Right. And
And
hear exactly what I said. A little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
like we needed more facts and we needed more like impact, deep community impact. And so when she was like, these are meant to be like extremely collaborative, and
Interesting.
this kind of address it, like the conclusion that I had from it is like, I think we need to like look broader than just we have children that need care. Like if we bring in we need elder care, and this isn't for this committee to figure out, but from her words, I was like, I think it maybe needs to be a much broader picture that we're giving them. And childcare is a piece of the pie.
Gotcha.
It does all of these things and it leads us to this.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so maybe going after that transformation grant as every nonprofit in this community in one application for a place that would achieve all of those goals. Because we're never number wise going to
Right.
have what they're looking for.
So you
Right,
could
but we
get,
kind of, where we pick up numbers is the community collaboration,
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, once you start, like, once I list all of the people that helped me in a year of after school programming, it's really impressive
Yes.
to see that list. And that list is what I use to justify
Mhm.
to the school district every year. So me right away, I can see it. It's like, okay, I get what we have to.
Yeah, just a bigger picture.
but you're also
Gotta be
thinking
broader.
about like, let's get the LaPointe Center.
Yeah.
You want the LaPointe Center, the Island
The
Association,
community
Well,
clinic.
community clinic.
Yeah.
Paul, the summer, the rec
Liquor house.
program,
Yeah.
he reached out, wanted to come to this meeting because he was curious on how his role could benefit us in our childcare needs. So.
Who's that?
Paul, who's the.
Paul
director-
Karpinski, he's for a rec program.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because we've been, we fit into an unlicensed day camp
Yeah.
essentially.
Mhm.
And so,
But I could see the Flickr House getting involved. I
Yeah.
could see, we have a lot of organizations.
mhm.
Mhm.
And just to have what they.
Well, and so, I think,
I mean, yeah, it has to be meaningful.
So before we get too far down
Yeah.
on programming,
Yeah.
I think we can all envision it though.
Yeah, and I think so the feedback about what we specifically were writing for, it didn't have what they were considering to be a deep community impact.
Okay.
And so if we rewrite that in the same format again, I really, I can kind of see where we'd have to put in a lot more data
Mhm.
and like have a much broader
Mm-hmm.
picture,
Okay.
Okay.
So, but positive, and she said, all I can say is there's, to keep applying and that there's both the opportunity grant and the transformation grant, and they're both those like big ticket,
Mhm.
like money, I like 3-year like
Oh, yeah.
installment.
Nice.
So she was like, keep going, and it actually doesn't matter if you turn in an LOI for one where you maybe think that the other one is, yeah, she's like, they'll tell, like, if it's a good and like decent application, they'll like allow you to continue to apply because their like submission of LOI overlaps the granting of the other one. So she's like, don't be afraid, just apply.
Mhm.
And then, it'll either shuffle you out or keep you going.
Okay.
Cool.
So yeah, good feed. Like
That's
I was
good.
happy that we finally were able to connect with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's interesting too. It's really good info.
Well, and it's so competitive too. I wanted to put that in there. It's like a highly competitive grant. So
Okay, the next one, update on the Bell Street project, more or less just to see if there's a space for childcare in the discussion at all, if we should be having someone represent our conversation, over there.
yes, the answer is yes. I'm hoping that somebody from this committee would be willing to be a part of the nonprofit that's being formed, to move forward with that space.
Okay, talk a little bit,
Yeah.
just to.
Yeah, briefly. So there is going to be a new 501c3 that is being put together. That doesn't quite have a name yet, but it'll be Madeline Island Community Center, more or less. Own separate 501c3 that will put together a board of 7 people with the hopes that those 7 people are made up of different people on other boards
Mhm.
that have a stake in potentially being in that building. And so that's why I think it's really pertinent that somebody from this task force, other than myself,
Mhm.
is on that board
Mhm.
to help create the bylaws and everything moving forward. The owners of the Bell Street are very willing to move forward with even like a land contract situation. It would really depend what that new board decides as far as buy-in from the different nonprofits, like what does that look like?
Mhm.
So that's where the work is at right now, is that it's been determined that that 501c3 will be formatted, that it will then pursue the ownership of that building and operate it.
Mhm.
And then all of the, whatever the bylaws are, will determine how each individual nonprofit interacts with that space
Okay.
and pays for that space.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
So is it
Interesting.
community center kind of headed, or we don't even know?
Yes.
Yet, or?
Community center, fully community center. And so obviously there is a huge stake for childcare
Yeah.
in that space.
Mhm.
And so there should be a voice and help in the bylaw organization and language around space usage
That's,
should be present. So,
well, that's,
how frequently are you meeting for that?
so we had one initial meeting. We're gonna have another one in August. More info, it's just an information session while it's going. And then the goal is that from September through November, the bylaw, like the
Mhm.
501c3 will be formed and the bylaws will get created, and that by the first of the year, we'll have a plan to get into the building.
Nice.
that's
Mhm.
Good
great.
job. If
Yeah.
you're interested, just reach out to Lauren.
Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
like there's a number of people.
Yeah, if anybody's interested, also, if you're just a little plug, if you're on other boards, we need, so LPC,
Mhm.
Um, Community Clinic, I've talked with Gina, and yeah. So,
Great.
Oh, interesting. Okay, good. That's great.
Any other questions on that? All right, moving on. Update on the Mary Lang Center.
Okay, I heard from Linda Mack the other day, and right now they are in the process of writing up a agreement. And this isn't, see, with the Child Care Task Force, we're not really part of that.
Mhm.
Right now, they're just focusing on the school.
Yeah.
Um, just because
Yep.
for, yeah, yeah. So I don't think that's off the table.
Mhm. And
Until,
Kate's very,
until we
we'll say
know,
Kate's very willing to share the space. So it's not an
Yeah.
issue of them choosing one or the
Right.
other. It's just, I think, like you said, they're
Yes.
focusing on that lane.
that's what they have to do because they have to write up an agreement with,
Yeah.
the school district wants a very specific agreement.
In place.
In,
before
you
school
know,
starts.
Yep, yep.
Yep.
And so the new board of the music camp is working on that. And they've been in contact with the facilities guy over there. He's come and
Joel.
looked at, yeah. And so they're working on what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, we just had a meeting with Kate with our parent teacher association. Lauren was there. And she gave us an update on how her process is going, trying to use that as the school space. And there's a little bit of a hurdle, but it's moving along.
It is, it's not as fast as
Yeah.
they would
So-
like, but
So with that said, do you feel confident that that's a space we'll be able to use? Maybe not necessarily right away in the fall, but in that timeline
I
of
do.
before they come
Linda
back
knows,
next year?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay.
Linda knows that,
Okay.
that the sooner the better, she understands that school is starting soon, so they
Yeah.
are trying to, but that's not all the music camp. That's also the school district is creating these hurdles too.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's not just, yeah. I think they're willing to do this, the school district, but they just want to be very clear.
Yeah, just an update. So
Yeah.
that's what we just talked about
Okay.
across the street.
Yeah.
So they are not opposed to having it over there because there's gonna be 13 kids and
Yeah.
the rec center is not big enough. So, but they have to have an annual meeting for all of the people to vote on relocation of the students. So that's what they're running into.
Okay,
It's all procedural.
And so that meeting can happen, but we have to find out the logistics of it. And then as like a sidebar, Elena is trying to get an update on whether the gym and the bathrooms could be ready, so they could maybe just move into that portion of the building while they finish.
it will finish and if, well, depending on what happens over there. Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. And so I don't think it's at all a roadblock of understanding and
Mhm.
thinking that it's a safe space or whatever. That's all
Right.
legit. It's like the semantics of that
Mhm.
annual
Yes.
meeting.
Yes, and
Yeah.
the price that I heard, which seemed really reasonable, was 1,000.
Mhm.
A month.
That's
Um,
very doable.
Yeah.
Especially,
Oh.
my next question is gonna be kind of like, what does the structure of this kind of look like for us?
Mhm.
And once I heard that price range, it was like, oh, well, we could, even like a parent collective is something, we could.
Totally. And then and then
Manage.
finding out what, the electric and
Yep.
whatever
Yep.
So-
So what was the update on, we haven't met for a couple months, and so could you update us on what they decided on the ability of that building to maintain its heat and all that stuff?
they didn't give me much feedback on that. I know that Joe, is that his name?
Joel.
Joel came
It was
over
good
and
enough for the school.
Yeah.
so, Okay,
clearly they were
Yeah.
okay with it.
that's good.
Yeah,
So you said there needs to be an annual meeting?
Yeah, so, and
Or-
originally they were like, we already had our annual meeting, so we can't have a second one, so you can't move. But then they actually looked at the statute and it says you can have 2 a year. So they can have a second annual meeting to vote on this.
And the potential meeting would be August 17th, which is a Monday,
Oh,
and that's a meeting
good.
where the public is allowed to vote, so.
Yep.
And you have to vote. You have to be in person to be able to,
so we need to get
everybody. there.
everybody there.
So,
In.
The school,
School.
Bayfield
In
School,
Bayfield.
yeah.
okay.
It's a Monday.
It's Monday.
What time on Monday?
We're not sure yet, but 5 probably is when they start. We'll know more and blast it out before Elena needed to go to her committee of the whole this coming Monday to find out if that's actually happening.
Okay, cool.
Quick question.
Mhm.
Would it be beneficial for us to receive like a letter of support that says they are, like, with the verbiage, I think they are willing? Is there anything that would
Like
be
from
pertinent?
the music camp?
No,
From the
just-
school?
Yeah, that they're considering like our request. I'm out of those conversations. so it's
Yeah,
hard to detail in my brain. I don't know.
I don't, no,
I don't know the interest.
their community, I'm just the
in between.
in-between person. I hooked Linda up with the.
Yeah, and
facilities guy,
actually
so
the
they're
facility people
trying
and
to-
Linda are all like figured out essentially.
So
Yeah,
essentially, no.
yeah,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, there's
So
moving forward.
just talking a little bit about, we're getting closer and closer to this timeline and needs and how we
What's that
go
look
about
like?
this,
Yeah.
what would it kind of look like?
Mhm.
So, I have a general idea just from the conversation with parents about who would use this, and there's definitely a list of parents that would use this. Most of them, like you said, the ones working with the town, you know, uh, Jill works for the Ferry Line, for example. So
Yeah.
like, there's a lot of folks in that mix,
Yeah.
for use. So, I had someone mention that Kiana was possibly going to school for her early education and had interest in moving to the island. And I was just wondering if we've talked further with any avenues of folks, if that's the direction we're going, where we're going to need to be licensed.
Mhm.
And if so, that's definitely not going to put us in this fall being able to use it. Unless we had someone who was licensed. and it
Right,
was like,
right, right.
They had all the paperwork ready to
Right.
go. So I was just wondering if anyone had any insight on that, if there are any leads or
I think
any
it might
thoughts?
be helpful for us, like as the task force to like sidebar, because I think we should always be working on trying to figure out a licensed person for
Yes.
these. Like,
Yep.
I, just in general, whether there's someone coming or not,
Yep.
you know, like we should at least figure out like an avenue, whether
Mhm.
that's having funds or like,
Well,
something.
Do we-
and it's something we
resources?
discussed with
like-
Richard, that there are grants coming up in October, that we could potentially pool into, if we had folks who were interested in the pathway. I had started kind of general conversations with the tech school where we do them, and it's a 2-year process.
To get a.
To get a license,
How
yeah,
much do you-
Debbie and I have been
What's
talking.
it To get,
So,
but to me, so the confusion for me is that it's not necessarily the person that gets licensed, it's the site that with the person that's so you can get qualified as in order to take care of 8 or more, and I heard, that those numbers have changed, but it used to be 8. You were a licensed family childcare. If you went more than that, then you were a group care.
Mhm.
You could also be certified and take care of 4 children. You know what I mean? So, and that was very simple to do. I used to teach those classes for the family childcare licensing. And
So are you saying it's more important to know the facility before? you're,
so
like,
it's a
having
little
to
bit,
research?
you have to have 75, it used to be 75 square feet per child. So what does that space look like, and so I think it'd be really good for us to get the updated licensing book. So we know there needs to be so much ventilation, windows,
Yep.
I mean,
And so you feel like approaching it from the facility and first would determine whether we need to be, what level we need to
what
be
level you would
certified at.
want to be, if you're
Yeah.
gonna go group or you're gonna go family. The other thing about family childcare is I couldn't just have, 8 kids, if I had so many under the age of 1.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That I could only have this, I could
Right.
have this, so there's a lot of,
right, so the numbers that we have,
yeah.
we can play around with what that looks like. So in my head, that's why I asked, like, do we have people interested in this? Because
Yeah.
we're gonna need a deep bench.
Yep.
Like, we're gonna need that at least 3 people because of the amount of infants that we potentially have. That number would be maxed out pretty quickly.
Yep.
And then our next thick age group is the 1 to 2, and then the under
Yep.
5. Is where our kids are kind of lying, but we're under 12, which is one of the threshold numbers, but we're gonna be
Over.
over. So
And it'll
2,
fluctuate
like
too.
3 people is kind of that number I'm thinking of, that we would have to get to that number before we would even
And
have
have
enough
you-
people
are there courses being offered in
Yep.
Ashland right now?
in the fall. Yep.
In the fall?
Yeah, they have a fall program that starts, then they have their winter program that starts, and they have a summer program. And you can opt out of the summer program.
Were you interested in that?
But because of the way the school year works, it takes you about 2 years to take all the coursework.
Mhm.
And we have a potential because of your background, and the fact that we have a school on the island, we could do some of that classroom learning, practicum learning on the island. And we wouldn't necessarily have to go off island. So if there was a person who was interested in doing the coursework, it would be a commitment of probably a year of online, with a little bit of or Ashland learning. And then we could justify and hopefully argue, to do that next practicum learning, over here.
Okay, I have a question. So if we have, can we have, you're talking 3 people, but do you just need one person that's licensed and then you can hire others, right? Correct?
Aids.
As long as you have one person on site
Yep.
that's licensed, then.
Yeah, and like Debbie
Okay.
said, there are tiers.
Yeah.
Of what your licensure is, so you can kind of do the bare minimum and.
Yeah,
Um,
I see. Okay, I just,
So-
not everyone had to have a license. That's my point.
correct, but
Yeah.
you do have to
But-
have one person on.
It has to be
that
there.
has to
Have to be
Yes.
pursuing, so everybody has to have continuing education.
Everyone in the space.
Everyone that
Okay.
has, so person that has a license needs, back in the day, had to get 20 hours a week.
Yeah,
No, or 20 hours a year.
Yeah, it's like the.
And so you
Right.
had other people, so that those people that were assistants would be
Gradually moving up.
gradually moving up.
gotcha.
Yeah, and the incentive is that typically, pay increases when you.
Sure.
More education.
Okay, that's what, yeah, okay, good.
So, and there's, because childcare is so needed right now, there are a lot of grant opportunities for people to pursue that education. So if that's something that we should advertise,
Yeah.
I definitely think we
Yep.
should get ahead of that.
Yep.
Especially with the information that we can start right away.
Yeah.
With also the information that it's not competitive. There's like.
Right,
Anybody can
enough
do
room
this.
At the table.
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, and so that's something to think about. I know Cora and I have talked quite a bit about it. So I'd be curious if we put the word out there, if there was any that will be interested in that. Cause I feel like that's the security we need and the consistency we need to have this.
Do you yet have the book from the department?
No, and
Should
can
I
you get
go
that?
ahead and
Yeah.
get that?
Could you gather that, all of that like technical background information that we can reference?
Because especially if they've been updating, which I'm
Right.
sure they probably have.
Right, because I can gather,
Yeah.
the school year's starting, I can gather the like enrollment information. I'll reach out to the coordinator. And I can get like, a packet of information.
Somebody would need to be starting.
Yeah, you would,
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, yeah. So, and it's, cost wise, it's a cost, but it's definitely a cost that we don't have to write grants that are outrageous.
Yes.
It's a very manageable
Yeah.
grant. So,
okay.
maybe that's an action item for next time is maybe put together some flyers, that have this information and I can put it together if anybody wants to make the flyers, otherwise.
If we could do a bulk mailing,
Mhm.
I think. would
Well,
be a-
we don't have a budget,
Okay, well,
so,
we could,
Put in when's the next Gazette?
yeah,
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 Yep.
yeah, posters,
Put it- yep.
Do
Gazette.
we know what the approximate cost is for the,
It's about $6,000, 4 to 6, depending on,
For the course.
for the
oh,
course.
for the whole thing.
for the bulk mailing?
Oh,
actually?
Oh, it's like $80, well, maybe it's gone up. Used
You
to be
can
about 80.
mail under the town's
It
permit
seems.
number, so it's like
We
less
used
than
to,
a couple.
we used to, yeah, I used,
For all
I'll
And
go
that could
through
be a
the.
donation
center.
and,
Mhm. The
I
Point
think
Center
it's
has
something
some-
to consider because it's like aunts or uncles or grandparents that are invested in people and that word of mouth saying, hey, you're interested, you love coming to the island.
Right,
I think that might be part of what was being sparked earlier of like, what's another
Mhm.
way to reach people? So,
Mhm.
Well, and another thing too is, we have things like the Island Association that has education grants. And that grant is, yeah, and between those grants, you could almost have this covered.
Yeah.
So if there's any island children that are looking for
continuing.
a direction.
Yeah, yeah.
This could be a good one.
It's graduating.
Um,
You know?
So,
Let's think about
That's
those
the
pieces.
So older kids, yeah, I agree.
It almost feels like a little subcommittee to gather, to make that happen, to present to them. Cause like if I were to jump into this, it'd be a lot of new information that I don't yet know.
mhm.
So it's like picking your brain to be able to say, sure, I can put a Canva poster together pretty easily, but I don't think it would be a good use of my time to deep dive it,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
how about,
So can you
I
do
have the
that?
background information, so
Yeah.
I can work with you.
Yep.
We can share if anybody else wants to jump in.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we can get that,
You're talking about doing some posters.
Just
Yeah,
answers for
yeah.
who's interested.
And I guess
Yeah.
one way is like, I'd like to figure out how to fund getting a bulk mailer out, whether it's personal or talking to someone about a way to give back and not missing that boat. So
Mhm.
if it's the difference of $80 to $200, knowing that, and then
So what would you include? The bulk mail would be about
It'd be
finding somebody
flyer.
that gets
basic.
to take the courses.
that's what we need to gather to make it as abundant as possible. So there's a track that you could be, I don't quite know. So I'm willing
That's
to.
kind of what I think, hashtag, what does this track look like?
Yeah.
Like, if you're interested in this, we are currently working on this. And we're looking for folks who are wanting to be invested in this over the course of.
Well, and there's
Year.
two, it's that there's an accreditation with a pathway. There's grant funding to support that.
Yep.
You know, the question right away I thought is, what is the investment? And 6,000 to 7,000 is scary to some and enticing for others. But if, again, it says there's an option and maybe like a coordinator that'll help, right? So a point person that says,
Yep.
willing to answer your questions, but also it's like divided. If you are a licensed teacher
Mm.
or know a licensed educator, ... I don't have all those answers,
Yeah.
but I can.
I think that's really critical too, is to get that piece in there as
Yeah.
well, because there might be people that we haven't even thought about that. have that
Absolutely, there are. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the teacher, the instructor may have contacts with people who are still looking for a
Yep.
job.
Yep, in the area.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, I'll do a little bit of legwork with the actual school and.
And one more thing, just the cost. I think the LaPointe Center has that,
Mhm.
they have some monies that they, Kate gets money from them.
We just have to.
The Island Association, I think it's important that we look at where that money, because if you're gonna put a flyer out and it does scare some people,
Yep.
they'd like to know, well, how am I gonna pay for this?
Yeah, we have these options.
Here's.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that the flyer could come out and kind of like, this is what I was thinking is like, we can be a resource to help you, like walk you through
Yeah.
this.
Yep.
Like the
Good.
that childcare task force is looking for people who are interested in becoming licensed.
Yep, and
We will help you,
We'll
Yep.
help you get
like,
the
do
money.
this,
Yep.
you know.
It may just snowball into something that becomes more abundant.
Mhm.
And I think the fact to include that we're looking for multiple people.
Yeah.
We're not just looking for, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yes,
We can't, one
We
person.
know that
can't
that
do
doesn't.
it.
right, one person isn't gonna,
Yeah,
We're
we can still
invested in
eventually
our-
volunteers and whatnot, but we're gonna need a few
Okay.
solid.
Yeah.
yeah,
And in terms of just to touch base on
Yeah.
the funding portions, I have a pretty in-depth understanding of when those cycles come through.
good.
So what you're bringing up is pertinent and it can help us, but
Mhm.
I think, yeah, we're on a good track.
Mhm.
Okay, that's enough for now for me.
And it could be something that's like regularly on our agenda, like just checking in about like licensure candidates. That's just there every time, like, who
I like
we
that.
talk to, like,
Right.
Yep.
where are we at? with
Yeah,
that?
doing a little canvassing in the community wouldn't
Could
hurt.
there possibly be people out there that are licensed?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
There could be,
have-
we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
they've got the education.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's required. Right.
Okay, a question on that. Do we have any sort of general email? Is it in our capacity where we can name like a new Gmail that,
For people to ask us questions.
yes, that doesn't go to like
Individual.
Direct.
Lois, yeah, or you?
Town of.
Max, that'd be a question for you. Do you have like a at town hall or at?
Can we, can we legally create a new email account?
I don't know why I couldn't, but
Okay.
Alex will do that.
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking about how to manage it, because
Yeah, who
she would be the one that's,
has to send it out to the.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can ask her.
Okay, and then my thought within that is if like the way that I've run them before is it's like a college professor that has multiple classes. In
Mhm.
order to get a response, you must put in the subject line,
Mhm.
that kind of, so it may have to be kind of strict, but I don't know the way it works right now
Yeah.
yet. So,
Yeah.
but we should have a vessel to get through.
Well, especially if we're putting a poster out there.
That's what I'm saying is like,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
where does it go?
Yeah, yeah.
Cause, I mean, generally it would go to the clerk and then
But then
they
then
would disperse it, yeah, and then they disperse it to the chair.
Yep.
And then the chair disperses it to the group.
Okay.
But
Okay.
Well, we could just use that avenue for now until.
It sounds like that is it. I
Yeah.
just wasn't sure
Yeah.
of it. Okay.
we can do that.
Talk to Alex.
Which kind of leads into the survey questions. Oh, sorry, I missed one, parent-child meetups. That's what I meant to say. It leads into that. So this was like a moving target and I'm glad I did it. I wouldn't say it was successful, but it showed me something. I had a bunch of times to begin with and none of those times worked. So we adjusted the times at the parents' request and they still didn't work.
Oh, no.
We had a really great first meeting and then it just, summer happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, for example, like Janine takes my kid for a walk every single morning and I'm not gonna cut that early and go to meet up. So I was always missing people by like a half hour kind of thing. And that's just the story. I mean, that's exactly what it was. We were just missing each other. But I think what it did is it connected parents with the ones that the schedules aligned with. We kind of found each other through the conversations of like, oh, I'm free at this time. And then we just individually started.
That's.
Yeah. And then it allowed me to start a email thread with all the parents,
Nice.
new parents and upcoming parents, and just letting them know that this is the work that we're working on. And this is a space where if you have questions or needs to come and share and ask. And some did. Some replied back with their needs of when childcare or their interests and whatnot. So I think the survey is a really great, now that I've kind of established that dialogue with them, that if we could get that out by like when school starts.
Yep.
When people are kind of in that mode.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really good time for us to find out what those needs are. Like put a calendar on there with like times and be like, what does your schedule look like? Cause it's really like, I need a couple hours here and I can need a couple hours here. And it's, a lot of these people aren't needing 9 to 5s or full days.
It's like drop-in hours.
Right. So it's kind of, you're starting to see the structure of what something would look like, based off of their schedules. So I think they've been thinking about it enough now that a survey could be helpful for
Good.
us, especially going into granting and.
Yeah, and that's why I think even if we could have a certified provider, you know what I mean, that had, because you're not gonna have all 6 babies at the
Right,
same.
at the same
You
time.
might only have 4, you know, at a time that they're shuffling, that someone could start out just being certified through, that's through the
Right.
county.
Right.
That, because you don't.
And if that's all we have, then it's more like we're in time blocks and
Yeah.
4 is our maximum and. You know, you kind of sign up for your times. And I feel like that wouldn't be restricting in any way to these parents because they would be grateful just for that 2 hours they're in a meeting midday. So,
For someone that, you know, if we don't find somebody that's already
right.
qualified.
Yep.
To be licensed, that would give us some time.
We get a little
to
bit,
Start out,
Yep.
you know.
Yeah.
With helping
I
people.
did
sign
actually
up.
just think of someone who lives here who is certified and looking for one here.
That's what I'm talking about. It's those little
That's, yeah,
bits.
yeah, okay.
good,
So
good.
all said,
Yeah.
it was a good exercise. I think I'm gonna really, I mean, this can be a group discussion too, but I think for going into the winter, I'm gonna try and focus on that like
Yeah.
Saturday or Sunday, because that was something parents were bringing up is like, we're all free on Saturday.
Right.
And I was like, I just really wanted to stay away from weekends.
No.
But in the winter, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
So, I think summer thing is very different than winter thing. So, we can talk more about maybe what a winter thing would look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Without a budget need, one of the pieces of community engagement that I really like is Taryn has been for years doing the barbecue on a certain night of the week.
Right,
I-
I'm gonna do that.
Yes. And like popping in and out of that as an example. And so if that could be maybe something we considered adding into that, if, you know, and inviting people in throughout the year and kind of establishing something or its own, it would be a way that people might entice themselves to start engaging a little bit in those conversations outside of a survey. Because the first thing that comes to mind is a schedule that changes then 6 weeks later. And then are we
Mhm.
capturing that in enough time? And our family is able to present that in a time, like, there's just moving pieces. So the more we gather, it's like, we'll start figuring. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I know that's part of what you've been working on.
Mhm.
I think that gathering at the park and through food is one of those that if you weren't just there to lead it,
Yep.
it kind of like, I don't go every week.
It's a
but I-
purpose to go.
but
Yeah.
it's a purpose
Yeah.
to go and you know that you might be able to come up with solutions to something.
Yeah.
So it might be something to consider.
Mhm.
And I do have questions about if it's okay to ask next for the babysitter requests.
Sure.
I was encouraged to check in with Sarah Schramm.
Mhm.
And I saw her on the way here and waved, and it made me think of like babysitter CPR for our young people.
Mhm.
I know you know more about that. Can you tell me? Because like,
I'm gonna defer to Lauren.
Right.
They do a program through the library. It's
Okay.
hosted.
Yeah, so
That's
we,
what I wanted to know about too.
yeah, in the past, we have had the Red Cross come and do babysitter certification.
Awesome.
And we can certainly host that again.
okay.
Mostly it's like, it didn't work this summer because they were already like scheduled up with like where they go and do it. But I'm hoping to like work on that for future.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And I would have loved to have had a greater response. I saw tabs gone and I got really excited and I had sweet Fern reach out to
You
me.
did.
And she was a rock star for many families this summer.
And
So
now she's gone.
it was incredible what
Oh, is she gone now?
person had an impact on many
Yeah,
families.
yeah.
And so, you know, sadly, more people didn't respond, but the one we did get was exceptional and she was helpful. And I got another person to reach out, you know, kind of at a different time frame, older, different skill set. So I shared that information with the parents. So, I mean, it's a really short list.
Yep.
But at least it's a list that we've started and we're sharing it. And then like Molly, Sheehan was the second person and she said a couple parents did reach out to her.
Good.
So they're utilizing it.
Good.
So I think
What's
it's,
the requirements again on your?
there were no requirements.
Oh,
I
I
mean,
thought there was like
there-
a CPR.
it was, we would like you to have.
So that's actually,
Yeah,
sorry.
so, cause it was like, we also wanted to keep it open that if like you're willing to go and learn with
Mhm.
an adult or you have an older sister and you're younger and you want to learn, like, we're not gonna exclude you. And Fern's 11, she doesn't have any experience in first aid, but I was home the whole time.
Yes.
You know, Lauren was there with her when she was with little
Yep.
babies,
Yep.
so, I think we can be really open-minded with, you know, it was really the person. It had nothing to do with like her, you know, her
Yeah.
bio, right?
Right.
And how often can the babysitter certification, I mean, is that something that can be
Yeah.
done during the school
Sounds-
year? or-
Yeah,
Summer.
it's a weekend. It's just like a Saturday course.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, it's mainly like they go over very basics, but you can get
Yep.
certified. So I think it makes the most sense, like going into the fall, like doing one if we can in the fall and then again in the spring.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be great to get our, you know, kids over 12 in that
Yeah.
class, even if they don't have an interest in babysitting right
They
now,
can-
just getting them in the class and just do it all together. So at least we have this pool of kids that all have this
It's like
skill.
2 years. There's gonna be like 5.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so that was a good exercise too, because
Yeah.
I personally reached out to all kids that were of age and not one of them responded. And many of them have babysat for me before. So it just kind of shows where they're at, what they're willing to do. And so,
Well, they're young.
they're not like they were when I was a
Yeah.
kid. It's a little different.
Yeah.
So, they do need a little bit more of that, like support and chiming in a little bit more to get them to do it, but, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, I could see, it would be fun to work with them and once as part of that class or something to put together some, bags for them to take on the odd job, what are some of the things it would be good to bring to a babysitting job?
Mhm.
You know, we.
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you know, so it's like, how about, do you like to play with puppets? You know what I mean? Could you bring a puppet? Or how about, some books? There'd be things that if we had a budget or we had somebody donate, we could put together.
Babysitter bags.
Babysitter bags. No, that would.
Yeah, Jill would always bring something when she babysit,
Yeah.
and it was just like that excitement, so
Yeah.
totally get it.
I do have good news then on number 6 before we move to number 7. And I like where your head is at because the bits of investment while Malia's been not on island. So personal reference, Malia's my 11-year-old daughter has babysat on island, was concerned that the CPR training was what wouldn't allow her to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And now she will be back. She gets home from camp tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
But she with Quinn then were big investment for Jack.
Yep.
Katie Cohen's.
Yep.
So I think that there is still, and then the conversations with Fern.
Yeah.
So giving you a bit of thumbs up that there's support coming. And then it goes back into then survey questions, which is outside of just our families. It's sort of like even are we willing to tap into the Molly and my age or older individuals that would like to volunteer, and have we heard enough feedback in that regard? Like the grandparents that don't have grandchildren here.
And that's what I was surprised I didn't have. It was quiet
So let's.
from that, because those are people in my personal past that have
Yes.
like in a
Yes.
bind. They've just showed up and,
Yeah. So let's think of ways to put effort on it again. Cause that seemed to be the theme of my meetings today, was like, I'm not sure if I should give up on that. And I guess it's kind of like, let's not give up on that piece.
well, and fall is very different
Yeah.
from summer. I mean, I even noticed it with Fern. We got to a certain point. Well, it was a 95-degree day. She was
Yeah.
gonna be out at the lake.
Yeah.
Oops, I forgot.
Yeah.
So, like, right? And it's a little different in the fall. You got a little more structure. So, I chime in, definitely agree with you on that.
Okay.
And a lot of kids are gonna be ending their summer jobs in the fall too.
Yep.
They'll be waiting for.
They're used to that cash flow.
I'm actually,
Okay. Okay, so any other questions on the meetups and babysitter requests?
No, but good job.
On that.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You learn.
Thank you. So, potential survey questions and goals. We kind of talked a little bit about this, but, I think this next month we should really finalize that and get something into their hands, by our next meeting.
I've got it here. So when I come back I'll write like what my objectives are, but there needs to be more input from the group in
Yes.
order for me to feel confident
Yep.
to like put it out there.
Okay.
Yeah, so, it's kind of started on that Google Docs, but
I saw.
everyone could just kind of pop
Yeah,
in,
look
even
at
if you have like a super generic, question you want to ask.
Yep.
Just add it to that list so we can
Yours were great.
start getting a
Thank you.
broader perspective.
I'm happy to work on it with you.
Okay. Then maybe Cora and I will deep dive it and we can spend a bit of time together and then send a note out with like a text follow-up that says, would you take a look at the email
Yeah.
before this date? And then
See
we
what
can
you
just
think,
get it
yeah.
done.
Are you gonna be building it on like Google Forms? Okay.
But we'll make sure you have a chance to see it.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say, you can share it with all of us as you're
Yep.
building it.
Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
any questions on that before we move on?
Maybe just thinking about goals and making sure that if you have a goal in mind, that's a real objective, you voice it so we don't miss it.
Yeah. Even if you don't have a question,
Yeah.
yeah, like a specific
Yeah.
question you want asked. you
I think
go
I-
ahead and have
my
it
main
so
thing, and
right
I'll
what you want.
put it in there, but I'm curious if people, like monetary contribution, like
Yeah.
definitely asking, like, would you pay for this service? Are you only looking for free, services? Like that
What does your
range.
budget allow?
Yeah, what does your budget allow? What would seem reasonable to you? What is unreasonable to you? Like knowing
Yeah.
all of those things
Yeah.
is really helpful, because then if we're supporting licensure and we're supporting a space, or we're not, or
Yeah.
we're going a different avenue, then we need to like really know
You
that.
know, what's hard is when
Changes.
there's hourly,
Yeah.
it was hard. So I did, weekly,
Yeah.
right? So when you came to me, you paid for a week.
Mhm.
You know, you paid for a week at a time. Sometimes, and we got to the point where you even paid in advance.
Mhm.
So that it was like a guaranteed spot. Otherwise, if I'm not being
Yep.
paid
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
the crafts, the food,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
and all of my time being there, then I might as well go do something.
Well, and I
else.
think it's a
So-
really pertinent question
Right.
because we're
Yeah.
not used to having a paid childcare situation on the island.
Right.
Yep.
Right? So a lot of us have like never ever had to consider building that into like our family budget.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I think asking that question is like, what would be reasonable to you? Is there a reasonable cost? Is it what, and what is it?
And
You
with
know?
that, yeah, and then is that sustainable
Mhm.
to pay somebody to be?
Is
there
it
for
different
that
year
amount?
round? Is it better to pay up front? Is it better to, yeah. Yeah, there's lots of questions. I mean, we've had to explore that a lot too for summer rec. Like,
Yeah.
what is a viable way, you know?
Cause that's not paid for, right?
It is, it's
It-
$15 a day.
Okay,
Mhm.
and did that change?
It was 10, forever, and it was free for until 12 years ago.
Okay,
Amazing.
and did adding,
It's amazing.
bringing it up to 15
It was a lot less.
cause drops? Or
It didn't,
did it?
no.
I would say.
It didn't, and I mean, we were really worried about that, but no, it did not cause a drop. People just adjusted like what made sense for them. Also, our program was only able to run
Yeah.
pretty typically 4 days instead of 5, and then that made more sense for people
Yeah.
in the summer who didn't necessarily want like Monday through Friday care. And so those are all
Would
things
they
to
pay,
consider.
what's that, an upfront?
Well, it's
pay-
changed over time.
Okay.
And so now, yes, it's all upfront because it was a lot of like,
Otherwise, you're trying to gather.
It was pretty slick. On my end, seeing a parent who paid,
Yeah,
I had,
mhm.
you know, no
Yeah.
complaints. It was,
This year, definitely like the goal was to get it streamlined and I feel like it
Yep.
has
Good.
been. Yeah.
yeah.
And but in the past, you know, then you can also though, like you build your costs at what you think is like gonna work. And you can offer support to people too, if it doesn't work. But you do need to build out your program like financially from like what's acceptable.
Right.
and those questions are gonna allow us to move on to the next stage of the program planning and figuring out the structure of like, you know, employing someone and
Mhm.
making it a realistic, because you're also not gonna get a licensed person to do this if their work hours aren't manageable or consistent or, you know,
exactly. Yeah.
worthwhile.
There are requirements in the licensing materials to have specific materials for certain ages of children.
Mhm.
You know, so, I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
toys and toys, but it might be, you know, a changing table that's at this height or that it's, you know, safe or.
That's
you know,
what this,
so just, there's gonna be some financial.
Well, and I see that there is like really a lot of crossover.
did you see this? No.
There's so much crossover from the,
Charter about this.
you know, rec program.
Yeah.
I really feel like more of your needs and, you know, since just the library in general, you know, like having resources for little learners and
Yep.
for rec program, like there's community partners that I feel like we can look to for that kind of support.
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna have to figure out like salary situation and how that's gonna function.
Yep.
And then like, what does that look like?
Yeah, we're asking people to take this course and we'd like,
Yep.
we're gonna create a. we're
Yeah, we
creating
gotta
a-
kind of build this
Yeah.
structure of what does this projection look
Well,
like?
and what do you normally get paid? Well, then how many kids on average would you have? And like,
Yeah.
what does that look like for costs of taking your kids there hourly, daily, weekly, you know?
Yep.
It's,
And do you take does the center take a portion?
and it could,
You know what I
depending
mean?
where it is, of course. Yeah, you gotta like
You'd have to-
figure
you
that
have to
out.
Pay your lights and you have to pay things, so you have to
Mhm.
figure out.
Yep.
how that-
Contribution to
Yeah.
base, yeah.
Right, well, it's a work in progress.
Yeah,
But I think, yeah, I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but I'll add that to the survey question.
Yeah,
'cause I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Those are really important.
oh, yeah, it's really important.
All right, so, number 8, I think everybody saw this,
Yeah.
the Great Lakes Island Institute, is having a webinar.
Impeccable
um,
timing.
Yeah,
What,
on
what,
childcare.
what day is it again?
It's August 19th.
Okay. I had
It's
it
1
down.
PM on that thing. It says Eastern time. So make sure you're tuning in at Central Time.
Okay,
Just
so noon,
it's 1 p.m.
1
Central.
PM
Yeah.
Central.
1 p.m. Central.
So.
Yeah, that looks great.
I already registered, so
Cool.
be sure to go in and register.
Yeah, that's usually a good time of day for me, where babies are sleeping, so I'll try to attend. So I'll have that on the agenda next month, and we can kind of talk about our takeaways and what we were inspired by. Sure, we'll have ideas.
What was the 19th?
The 19th. And if you didn't see that email, let me know, because it has the registration information on it.
Okay.
And I got this email sent to me from like 6 different people.
Great.
So, it was really great. There's a lot of people in our community that are thinking about this and thinking
Yeah.
about us. So,
When Rich and I met with, for the Boreal Waters feedback, he was really adamant about like, you need,
yeah,
this is happening. I'm like, this is perfect timing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
May I, before we go on to number 8, we have 5 minutes and I don't know protocol yet. Can we make comment back to community comments that were brought up during? How does that work?
Typically, no.
Okay.
Public comment, it's just a comment.
Okay.
But if it's a question we can address in conversation, totally fine. Otherwise, we can always put it on agenda next meeting, for discussion, and we can definitely hold on to these, because this is a lot.
Can we get this scanned into our doc? Can we get it scanned into our documents?
I can do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Great.
How about this? It's a workaround. Thank you for your
Yeah.
community
Cool.
comments.
Yeah, so if everyone wants to take a look at this, a little deeper, we can talk about this next meeting and.
Yeah.
Sure. If you guys
Well,
want
I'll bring the big books. They'll have them send me the big document. Like
Some of these questions are. what
As soon as I have it on here to obtain that as soon as possible, because it'll help with a couple of the pieces. Do you have any reason to believe they'll be electronic also?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, and kind of, going through with the magnifying glass and stuff like this, seeing like what might be barriers for us as we're thinking about the center. Things we don't have, or things that, question. I think it'd be really good to have, when we come next meeting, because that's really gonna narrow our focus on kind of what a program could look like. Any questions? We are into old business, so if we miss something, we can chat about it there. And if there's no old business, new agenda items, I have a nice long list of things.
I was gonna say.
We've got.
Yeah, I have,
Survey.
survey questions, fall babysitter, update, licensure candidates. Like Lauren said, I think that's what I'm gonna have on there. Debbie, you're gonna have the technical background stuff, so the booklets.
Yes.
So we'll have a discussion on maybe some things that, red flagged or whatever. The personal mailer flyer, do an update on that. I will provide information on the early education program. And maybe an update on, I won't have this on the agenda, but I'll have an update on the email who do we email, where does it go,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Anything else just off the top of your heads?
We talked about type of flyer for getting out the information, getting out
The
the
mail.
community
Yep.
that we're looking for people.
Yep, that's a personal mailer.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, we got it. Anything else?
Not right now.
Okay, super. I probably asked you about a week before the meeting.
I was just gonna point out
Chime
too, in the very beginning, I think Elizabeth Ellis provided some materials for us from Redcliffe.
Yes.
Did we share? So those posters were from Redcliffe advertising for like what is needed for childcare. Wealth of information on there as far as like what could potentially go on the
On our-
poster.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, does everyone know what Lauren's talking about? Did everyone see that email? I can dig it out and I'll resend it.
Send that.
Yeah. resend that.
Because theirs was also a flyer for engaging people to pursue certification.
Yep.
Oh,
So
that's
that's why it's like, just take a peek at that and like, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
cool.
okay. Well,
So what do you think?
yeah, let's set our next meeting date. We've been doing about a month. So that would put us
Gosh, in September?
Just September.
What?
And as we're doing that, do we have any deadlines for funding that we're aware of right now?
October is where there's a lot of government deadlines.
Okay.
So, are you guys all familiar with the like .gov website? Do you feel comfortable kind of going in and like digging out the childcare stuff? Because there, if you go in there and search it specifically, a lot of things will come up, and if
I have no idea.
you could bring that to the next meeting with interest.
And what is it?
The Wisconsin, is that the Wisconsin?
Wisconsin?
Or?
It's like grants.gov.
Yeah.
is how you get there.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and then there's all these questionnaires to get you kind of
Okay.
your spot. So take some time if you have the next month and
Sure.
dig in there, and maybe I'll put that on there, but grants for fall.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of local ones too that we should have on our radar.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'll put grants on there as well. So
Great.
for meeting date, the first Monday is Labor Day. So it would be the 14th, 21st.
Let's do the 14th.
Is
14.
there anything on the 14th of September?
We have, it's affordable housing, forum that night.
That's right.
We do a different.
Can we do a different day?
Do you want to do it that week or?
Maybe the first week. I don't know. I'm just feeling like
I know, I don't want
there's a
to,
lot
I
to
know.
do.
Well, if that's already September, then the sooner the better, because if we have October deadlines,
Mhm.
that'll be our time to vote.
Can we do it the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, something?
The first week.
Tuesday or Thursday.
You can't do Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 8th.
No,
I can't do.
she can't do Tuesday, Thursday.
The 31st of August, is that too soon?
That's a little soon. I feel like,
School starts on the 1st, so.
yeah, it's
right.
gonna be kind of hectic.
I would do,
Can we do a Wednesday? Is that?
That's fine.
Hmm?
That's fine.
What does September 9th look like?
Yeah. Can we do a Wednesday?
Not the 2nd, but the 9th is
The
on.
9th?
Right, does that work for everyone?
I might have to be across the street remote, but I'm makerspace on Wednesdays, but I could probably figure that out. I wouldn't like not do it. that
Okay,
way.
right.
We just want to make sure we have a
Yeah.
quorum for that day.
September 9th.
Yeah, can you do that?
Yep, we'll always have Zoom. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the day. Is that a Thursday?
It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday. So we'll put September 9th down for our next meeting,
5 p.m.
5 PM. Yep.
I will likely be a Zoom in
Okay.
guest on that date.
Okay.
But I will give you.
Yeah, and if you're not able to make, just let me know, so we can make that quorum.
Yes.
Okay,
Cool.
with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye,
Adjourned.
thank you. Wow,
Thanks, everyone.
way to crank it out, guys.
Yeah, we did.
Good job.
Okay, I got this scanned, but I'm having a hard time finding it right here, so I'm gonna just
Thanks for coming, you guys.
for the moment.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, you guys.
That way,
Shut up.
Uh-huh.
that way it's somewhere permanent. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, we're getting places and spaces.
Please.
So are we damn, how many still on right now?
You think we're
Oh, wait, for my comment.
And the microphone picks up that.
so